The excitement for Star Wars is back, thanks to that trailer for the final installment of the Skywalker saga, appropriately titled The Rise of Skywalker. The trailer offers plenty of questions with very little answers, but the biggest moment came at the very end of the teaser, where a familiar and sinister laugh could be heard. Kylo Ren may be the supreme leader of the First Order, but it looks like the ultimate evil is back for Episode 9. But how is this possible? Well, let's try and break it down. So who was that disembodied laugh at the end of the teaser? Why, it was none other than the Senate himself, Emperor Palpatine, also known as, Darth Sidious.
You will die.
If there was any doubt that it was the Dark Lord of the Sith, Palpatine actor Ian McDiarmid himself showed up after the trailer rolled at Star Wars Celebration Chicago.
Roll it again.
So, yeah, Palpatine is back in action. The question that now remains is how? In case it slipped your mind or you didn't actually see the original trilogy, in which case, what are you doing here? Emperor Palpatine died at the end of Return of the Jedi when his apprentice Darth Vader threw him down the electrified ventilation shaft of the Death Star's interior. In this act, Anakin Skywalker was able to fulfill the prophecy established in the prequel films.
Is he not to destroy the Sith and bring balance to the Force?
Initially, that was the end of Palpy, but with the new canon under Disney's supervision, a new picture is beginning to appear. One that may point to the Senate being alive in some way, shape, or form in The Rise of Skywalker. Information about the plot of The Rise of Skywalker still remains largely under wraps, but Celebration 2019 did shed a bit of light as to what the heroes of the film will be getting up to. The likes of Rey, Finn, Poe, and Rose, along with Chewie and C-3PO, will all be rallying together to go on a quest of some kind. What they're looking for remains to be seen, but one thing is for certain. They have to visit that old Death Star. Or at least the broken remains of the second Death Star on what has to be either Endor or the forest moon of Endor. But since Endor is a gas giant, there just might be Ewoks on the horizon. Or hey, maybe it ended up crashing down on another moon, the splishy splashy ocean moon of Endor. So why do they have to go to the Death Star wreckage, and how does this tie into old Palpatine? It seems that the Emperor had something inside the space station that might have survived the explosion and subsequent fall. Whether it was an artifact, a weapon, or a gateway to the world between worlds remains unknown, but it looks like whatever they're seeking is on the Death Star. It wouldn't be a Star Wars movie without one after all. The fact that McDiarmid showed up after the trailer rolled suggests that he's not simply in the movie to play a minor role, but will be a driving force in the plot. Not from beyond the grave. J.J. Abrams stated that his vision for Episode 9, along with his co-writer Chris Terrio, who won the Oscar for Argo, wanted to connect the original saga and the prequel saga to this film. And there is one crucial scene that comes to mind, and that is the bizarre opera sequence from Revenge of the Sith. This legendary scene amongst the annals of the internet is the one where Palpatine tells Anakin about the tragedy of
Darth Plageuis the Wise.
In Legends, Plageuis was Palpatine's master, and there is no reason to assume that that information is out of date in the new canon. The key bit of information that Palpatine delivers to Anakin to help bait him to the dark side is that Plageuis was able to learn how to manipulate the Force to create life, and also put a stopper on death. Of course, after apparently learning everything that Plageuis had to teach, Palpatine killed his master in his sleep. Good old Sheev, that's his first name, later tells Anakin that he doesn't have the information needed to keep those he loves from dying. But, what if he was just lying? He did a lie. What if Plageuis really did teach Palpatine how to cheat death, and he simply lied and kept that information to himself? Seems pretty on brand. Not long after Palpatine dubbed Anakin Darth Vader, the newly appointed Emperor began making some pretty extreme plans. Not plans for taking over the galaxy, that was already in progress, but plans as to what the Empire will do in the case of his death. The plan was known as the Contingency, and was what the Empire would do should he die. Using chess as a metaphor here, Palpatine explained in the Aftermath novel Empire's End that he explained the game is over when the king is taken, regardless of how many other pieces remain on the board. If the pawns were unable to protect the king, then they were unworthy to continue living in the first place. So, Palpatine orchestrated a contingency plan that would see most of the Empire wiped out of existence should he fall during his tenure as Emperor. The Battle of Jakku was actually staged in order for the Empire to lose. Gallius Rax, Palpatine's protege, chose Jakku in order to inspire his troops to win. Or at least that's what he told them. In reality, the harsh terrain and heat brought morale and fighting conditions down for the Empire and contributed to their loss. As per Palpy's plan, the initial plan was for both the Empire and the Rebellion to die when the planet's core was to explode, thanks to good old Sith artifacts. But this plan was halted by Grand Admiral Ray Sloane, who hunted Rax down. However, despite beating him, Rax told her to go forth to the unknown regions of space, with the few chosen survivors of the Empire, including Brendol Hux and his son Armitage Hux, the future general of the First Order. Those survivors would meet up in space and find Palpatine's Super Star Destroyer and slowly begin to rebuild the Empire into something new and more extreme than what came before it. How Snoke got involved remains to be a partial mystery, but the novelizations for The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi reveals that Snoke is both an ancient being who has seen the rise and fall of the Empire, and that he didn't actually plan on being the leader of the First Order, and that the tattered remains of Palpatine's forces thought he was the last person who should lead the new Empire. What with his frail body coming off as weak. But he was vicious and knew a whole bunch about the dark side, so he landed that job. While nothing in particular has been revealed yet, a connection to Palpatine in some way, shape, or form is becoming more and more likely now. If Sheev didn't find a way to cheat death, then he certainly found a way to become attached to the land of the living through the Force. Clues for this can be found in the Darth Vader comics, Dark Lord of the Sith, set immediately after Revenge of the Sith and showcases the construction of Vader's castle. It's in this arc where Vader discovers Darth Momin, an ancient Sith whose spirit lives on in his helmet. The comic explains that certain dark side users who are extremely powerful with the Force can latch their spirit onto an object that was important to them, such as a helmet, and effectively haunt that object and commune with the living, even possessing them if given the chance. While Palpatine didn't have a helmet, and his robes wouldn't be considered important to him, there is one thing that the Emperor likely cherished above anything else. And we actually got a glimpse of it in the Rise of Skywalker teaser trailer at Celebration. Of course, we're referring to the broken and derelict remains of what is most likely the second Death Star. We have no idea what brings Rey, Finn, Poe, and company to this site, but JJ did reveal at Celebration that the heroes are working together in this film, and they have to go on some kind of quest together. So, chances are they're looking for something, and it's in the rubble of the Death Star. Only this place is powerful with the dark side of the Force. The amount of hatred that was poured into making it, the labor, the forceful extraction of kyber crystals, and the lives taken by that laser weapon make it a pretty awful place. Add to that, the Emperor died here, and we likely have a haunted site where the Emperor's spirit has latched itself to. This idea that the heroes have to visit the Death Star isn't a new one either. J.J. Abrams and his crew actually conceived it for The Force Awakens. And Doug Chiang reveals in the book that the heroes would have taken the Falcon underwater because it's airtight, and gone to the submerged wreck of the Death Star in hopes of going to the throne room. What are they looking for? Unfortunately for us, the book isn't too much help here, as the reason they went venturing to the wreckage was to find a piece of the map to Skywalker. And we know the Resistance don't need that no more. So, it's something new that brings them to the site. And before we segue, it's also worth mentioning that that same Vader comic heavily implied that Palpatine used the Force to create Anakin Skywalker. So, the Rise of Skywalker could take on a whole new name should that vision turn out to be accurate in the comic. The idea of Palpatine being Anakin's father is something that George Lucas had initially penned down for the Revenge of the Sith script, but ultimately cut out.
We will watch your career with great interest.
Regardless of what brings them to the Death Star, it's almost certain that there is a dark side spirit of the Emperor latched onto this place. Perhaps this is what Darth Plagueis meant by cheating death. This remains to be seen. For the sake of covering all the bases, though, there is a third option to explain how the Emperor is alive in the Rise of Skywalker. But if you've skipped out on Rebels, then you're in for a surprise with this one. In the fourth and final season of Rebels, Ezra discovers the world between worlds. He finds a gateway on his home planet of Lothal after the Empire finds a mural during their excavation of a Jedi temple. Ezra makes his way through a door adorned by Loth wolves, which he has a strong connection to in the real world. As he steps through the door, he's taken to the world between worlds, a void separate from the real world where space and time operate differently. While not quite time traveling, he is able to influence the past by saving Ahsoka during her confrontation with Vader. Only when we initially saw that scene 2 years prior, Ezra had already made that decision in the world between worlds, thus creating a time loop of sorts. Naturally, the Emperor is very interested in this. While casual fans may be confused as to its sudden explanation, the inclusion of Maul in Solo: A Star Wars Story suggests that the films may start being more bold with how much they include from the deeper cuts of the canon. So perhaps the world between worlds could make an appearance in the big screen, and that the Emperor, despite failing with Ezra, continued on with his studies of it, and created a loop between himself in the original trilogy era and 30-odd years in the future. Again, this is the least likely option, but we wanted to cover all them bases when it comes to the Emperor, because after all, everything that's transpired is going exactly as he designed. Is the sequel trilogy transpiring exactly as he planned? Or is this a last-minute decision that JJ put in to please the fanbase? Let us know what you think in the comments, and be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more videos like it in your playlist every day. And thanks for watching.